If you are using spreadsheets to track your numbers in your business, just stop, because that is not the way to track your numbers and to be able to get a detailed assessment in relation to where your business is at right now. So frequently, I am hearing that businesses aren't using proper account software, they're still using spreadsheets, because all they're considering is how much their personal tax return is going to be at the end of the year. Now, this doesn't matter whether you are a sole trader or a limited company. Spreadsheets are not the way to know your numbers. Yes, you can potentially put in all your income and all of your receipts and you can see at the end of it. However, knowing your numbers is so much more detailed than that. Now, I want you, if you're watching this video, I want you to go back and watch the video that I did yesterday in terms of the key questions I want you to be able to ask yourselves. The reason why I'm asking you to go back to that is I can guarantee that if you are tracking your numbers only by a spreadsheet, you will not be able to answer the questions that I have posed yesterday. Knowing your numbers is an absolute crucial part of your business. Now, yesterday it was quite interesting because my accountant, Pink Pig Financials, had put a post up on socials all about the fact that one of their clients had said that they thought they needed to understand maths to be able to do their accounts. No, you really, really don't need to understand maths. You're not doing algebra, you're not doing trigonometry, you're not doing any of that sort of stuff. And in reality, if you are using the proper software, you won't need to know numbers, because in reality, the software will give you the information that you need, providing you enter it correctly. If anything, if you're using a spreadsheet, you've got to understand numbers far more than what you would do if you use an accounting software. And yes, there is an associated cost. But for some of these softwares, there are even some softwares that are free. You've also got ones that are anything from £10 to £25 a month. And actually, if you work out how much time it takes you to enter the data into a spreadsheet in comparison to how long it would take you to put the information into account software, I can guarantee you will more than save that 20 odd pounds a month that you're paying on your account software. So just stop. No more spreadsheets in relation to your day-to-day bookkeeping. Get a proper piece of software. But the next thing I would say is when you do get a proper piece of software, get trained on how to use it properly. Because I see time and time again where businesses have taken the decision to finally use a decent piece of software, and then they're not using it to its full potential. I hear so often that businesses, all they're doing is putting their income invoices on there. So all they're doing is literally maybe generating quotes and converting them to invoices, and then they stop there. No. How can you track your profit and loss, right? How can you see what is profitable and what is not profitable? How can you track your numbers if you are not putting the data into the software? Right, so now what pieces of software are there available? I am going to work backwards in terms of the list that I have put in the description of this post, right? Sage. I would generally avoid Sage if you are just an ordinary business owner. Sage is great for accountants who've got the accountant qualification, but for day-to-day business owners, it's so clunky. You will not want to use that. Kashflow, I've heard recommendations for. I'm not a personal fan of it, but explore it and see whether you like it. The next one is FreeAgent. Now, FreeAgent, I have heard some good things about. I've not personally used it. However, to be better than using spreadsheets, FreeAgent at least is a step up. You've then got QuickBooks. Now, QuickBooks is okay in my personal opinion, but it needs to be set up properly to really get the benefit out of it. So this is where one of the biggest concerns that I have when using QuickBooks. QuickBooks does not have what's called a chart of accounts straight out the box. So accountants use the terminology nominal codes. Basically, nominal codes are where you allocate various payments and receipts. So for example, there'll be a sales nominal code for any of your sales that would go in there. If you purchase anything relating to advertising and marketing, it would go in there. If you've got vehicle expenses, it would go in there, and so on and so forth. QuickBooks doesn't have that out of the box. So when it comes to actually where you're allocating, if it's not set up properly, you're going to be putting random things as the equivalent of your nominal codes, which then means at the end of the year, your accountant is then going to have to play around and get it fixed. So either get an accountant or bookkeeper set it up properly for you, or do your research, or speak to somebody like me who can make sure that you are at a starting point. Or better yet, use Xero. Now, I know that the main two really to compare, I would say, is Xero and QuickBooks. Now, a lot of business owners who have got no experience in bookkeeping generally hear that I hear that QuickBooks is a little bit easier. I actually disagree with that. Now, I think where QuickBooks often can appear better is on the dashboard. You have various graphs and you've got all of these fancy things, and you have the toolbar down the side, and I think some people find that a little bit easier. One of the other things is you can edit a contact directly from an invoice rather than going into the contact card. Now, people might find that as a little bit easier. However, this again comes down to training. I have converted many clients from QuickBooks to Xero, and when I've trained them on how to use Xero, they then quickly realise that actually Xero is easier to use. So it boils down to, have you been trained on the software, and making sure that you're actually using it to its full potential. If you're not, you won't get the data that you need out of it. So this is where you should be turning to your accountant or bookkeeper or your finance manager if you're a bit bigger, that they need to make sure that whatever software you choose to use, it is set up properly and you are trained and you know how to use it properly. Ultimately, this software is only as good as the data that is entered into it. There are also plenty of other pieces of software which make the job easier. One of my favourites is Dext. Dext used to be called Receipt Bank. Don't know why they changed the name, because Receipt Bank makes it much more simpler. And it's a quick and easy way to be able to push any of your, particularly your suppliers' invoices through, extracts the data. Xero, I know, has the equivalent. It has something called HubDoc. In my experience, Dext seems to actually work a little bit more smoother and is a little bit less clunky. So the key piece of advice here today is go back and watch the video I did yesterday and see whether you can answer the questions that I posed. If you can't, and part of the reason is you're using spreadsheets, then stop using spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are not the way to record your numbers. You need to be able to track them on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And in a spreadsheet, you put one number that's wrong and everything is completely out. I've seen it even with one of my clients where they would keep a record. He thought he was making an amazing profit. He wasn't. When it came down to actually doing the proper accounts, it was clear that a loss was actually being made. And that was because there were errors in the spreadsheet. You are less likely to make mistakes within the data, or they're easily spotted if you use the proper software. So I always vote for Xero. If you are considering moving over to an accounts package and you want some support and some guidance, then please do speak to me. I do not hold myself out to be an accountant, but what I do, and because I have learned the hard way, where I'm talking from is from experience. When I had the law firm, I didn't know my numbers to the level in which I know my numbers now. And I made some hell of a mistakes which really actually cost me in the long run, both mentally, both practically. So when I am talking to you about all of this information, this is coming from genuine experience where I have made the mistakes. Stop using spreadsheets, get the right piece of software, have a great accountant that is supporting you, and make sure that that data is the right type of data that is in there so you can actually track your numbers on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, not just waiting until the end of the year. Like I said, I'm more than happy to help any of you in relation to this, because knowing your numbers is a really, really important part of your business. Your business will not survive if you do not know your true financial position. So all I'm just going to do is I'm going to pop in the comments. I need to make sure I remember to put the link in, and I will put the link in for yesterday's one as well, that if you want to have a conversation with me about your knowing your numbers better, then make sure that you click the link, book in an initial call with me, and I can see how I can help you. So thanks for listening, guys, and I will speak to you all very soon.